to see what these teams have got. We said it's the group of death, really. So who is going to land first, get those hot drops, and right away we'll take a look. Myapo, Otter Eyes, Queen Biddy rated was down, but Swagg here, middle of the map, up top roof, just trying to get some control here of prison. But the team alive and well, got some temperate and some self revives. That's a solid start to have.
Yeah, the thing that I think I'm most peculiar with when it comes to Rebirth compared to other customs that we have seen in the last couple of years of Warzone competitive is what parts of the map do you value as the circle starts to close? As you see it right here, I was just about to say, every real estate you can find that has some high ground is going to lead to some really good elimination potential, just due to the fact that as you start to rotate either down or up the hill towards the main prison building, there's so much open area. So naturally, as we're swapping between perspectives, you're seeing exactly how good this high ground is. 4 kills independently for Z so far. One heck of a start, as only one of our squads has been fully eliminated thus far.
And he's up here at the sniper tower. This is a great position to be. He's able to mop up his 4th kill while his teammate comes back in about 2 seconds. And this is Wars, Oak Boy. This is a really solid team for them to have, along with Nadia and zlaner. So I like this positioning from him. Granted, you have to be careful because you're going to have people like one of the members of TBE, that's Noobs on your screen, who's going to beam you right back. But this is a team we talked about, a team, especially when it comes to Tommy, Almond, and Noobs. You have to ask the question, how are they doing in Rebirth? Well, they came 2nd place in a trios tournament in Rebirth a little bit ago, but when it comes to CDLR, yes, they made it to the final, but they got 8th out of 10, and Almond, well, he gets pinched between 2 players, taken out by Hisoka, and now Noobs is gonna have to make sure he plays his life carefully, maybe get a kill in the process, but they need to stay alive, and unfortunately that might not happen. But this is a team you have to ask that question. They've been struggling so far in Rebirth, so can they make this the first time they can get on top?
And just for what it's worth, kind of watching over their playstyle in Rebirth compared to what they were doing on Caldera, or of course most specifically Verdansk, is they loved in those more open customs to kind of go off once they have their loadouts in individuals or duos, and they're trying to recover that same mentality here for Rebirth. But the thing about Rebirth is what we've seen lately is you should expect that every team or every major team is going to be alive by the end of Circle 3, and then it's 30 seconds of chaos. And I feel like when you're so split up as they typically get, they're never able to get to those late moments as a full group of 4 in a central location. So we'll see if maybe some adjustments have come through. Individual kills have been fine so far for what it's worth, and they still have the ability to keep all 4 members in play for that final fight potentially. So good stuff so far, even though it's been maybe a bit scrappier than they would like, especially since we've been swapping over to Swagg's POV. They have just lived on the high ground above prison so far.
And while Booyah is down, it looks like there's a triple threat on Biffle. Still a minute and a half on that UAV for the team that has the bounty on him. Hisoka on your screen now on a little bit more of the outside general area. It seems like Juki's, all of them have been contesting this fairly heavily. We did see Noobs in this area earlier on. When we swapped back to Tommy for just a second, he was dead, and well, so is that poor fellow. Juki's, that'll be number 5 for him, and that's a great amount of kills to see on an individual so far, especially when you keep in mind placement, guys. Always look at the teams remaining. We have 6 teams left, which means we are into a 1.25 multiplier. Once we get to 5, that bumps up to 1.5, and that's when, well, all your kills really start to count.
And I think the biggest thing is the evaluation of when have we done enough in the early game to value maybe playing for more placement rather than more kills, because I think that is going to be an important decision-making ability, especially considering that there are only 3 lobbies to get qualified for finals. Once we get to 5 lobbies, I think things may change, but I think really was you get to this point where you're dealing with, you're already guaranteed a multiplier, you've already got a lot of kills, just get into a good position as a squad and see if you can find teams that are kind of circling around you while you're still holding best weaponry, which it looks like for the most part the team of Juki's is doing very nicely as they continue to run kind of the south part of the map.
Yeah, Juki's team has really found a consistent flood of individual players to abuse in that area and pick them off. And what we ask about some of those slower snipers, and well, the ADS might not be what you want, but the snipes are on point. A down for Almond. Won't probably be able to turn that into much as a cluster strike is dropped on his head and he's forced to back off. He will end up getting an assist there, but Noobs will go down. We swing back over to Aydan's team. A bit of trouble here at the top. We knew, of course, that Swagg's team was up here as well, but a throwing knife for the finish, and he'll stay alive for the time being. And I think he has at least a decent amount of kills, but I love that point that you make, right? You have to be able to couple both that aggression early on with then knowing when to coast and just prepare for those final circles, try to predict, figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, the best word that you just used there was prepare. You just don't want to get caught off guard by a circle that's pushing you maybe a little bit sooner than you would normally expect. So as we get into these kind of final fight moments, we are in our top 5. That's a 1.5 times multiplier now for all of our remaining squads. It will go to a 1.75 for the top 3. And of course, as usual, the team that wins will get the 2 times kill multiplier. So now you're really looking for placement more than kills at this point. You start to get over aggressive, try to chase out kills, you will get third party. So I think caution is going to be the name of the game, and just generally, can you predict where this circle may lean towards? Because at the moment, it's kind of in this middle ground space where that kind of curve at the end by the water tower is the most central part of this next circle. So a lot of open ground between Swagg and this upcoming circle as they start to move.
And you're going to have to be careful getting caught out in spots like that. That's where Rebirth is going to be so deadly. Just be mindful not only of what's happening in the moment, but what are you going to do 30 seconds from now? Does your team have a game plan a minute from now? When the circle closes, when the circles eventually rotate, those are all things that you have to pay attention to. And, well, you're able to get one, but Ken's will go down, and now it's all Almond, all alone. But if there's anyone on this team, I think, Shift, that I would trust to stay alive and get a placement and steal some kills, it's going to be Almond. His ability to play his life is unparalleled.
Yeah, guaranteed. He's good for at least another placement, you feel like, especially now that we're into the top 4. And risky call here for Ahsoka, trying to maybe predict where this next circle is going to go. This is going to chew away a lot of health, but if you can get the stim off and get into the top side of the circle, you will be able to out-rotate a lot of the teams that are left. This is risky as you lose your teammate, but it seems to be a pretty committed play, and, well, Ahsoka's probably going to fall here, and it looks like it will not quite be into the top 3. So, tough situation. You missed out on the 1.7 times multiplier, and now we're dealing with our last 3 teams, Katie.
And, well, Booyah, he's all alone, but he did have 7 kills as well. So it looks like Swagg's team found a lot of value from going to prison. And, well, I said it for a reason. Almond's still on his own, doing what he can to keep those stim plays to help him keep alive. And now in a 1v4, he himself doesn't have a lot of kills, but those placements are extremely crucial. And there's a very real world where he can mow down Foreign Jace, get that kill, and move himself into a situation where he could very well win this.
And the thing about it is we saw Swagg. He only had fortified plates and he was a solo. So this is a 1v1v2 situation to finish things off. And as Almond is able to get the recharge off the equipment and ammo, there's an opportunity if you can read this circle to potentially sneak in late once the fighting has started and maybe get yourself plated up with a chance to win this game. Because at the moment, it's still going to be a 1.75 times multiplier for all these squads outside of the one that wins. So big plays have to come through right here as the rotation is late for Almond, but it has strategically got him into a spot maybe to fight, but that's tough timing. I think he was just caught out, and now he's got no armor plates, and he's pretty much stuck to hope that the stim will get him out of dodge.
Yeah, and that was his last one, and he's going to have to make it count, right? He needs time to be able to plate, but the storm is consistently cutting him off and not allowing his health to regen. Good news for him. He's not getting pushed by anyone in particular, but now a 1v2, and how is Almond going to choose to play this? The high ground is going to leave very quickly. He breaks opening armor, but the longer he stays in the storm without those stims, the harder it's going to be for him to make the play, unless this person doesn't know where to look. But it was Jesse Cook's team with the win, and in a situation like that, Almond getting second place for his team, considering he was last one alive, that's why he said extremely hard to kill. But take a look at that, breaking about 21 kills for Jesse Cook's team, and
qualified for that 5-drop final. So here's the leaderboard as it fully shakes out. Still waiting on Rated to get his full scores and stats built in, but everybody else is accurate at the moment. And I think the biggest thing, and you had mentioned this while we were kind of on break, is Almond finishing in second was actually huge for them because they only were able to tally up 10 total kills. So the 1.5 times multiplier puts them in a really good spot to at least stay competitive, even though that first lobby was not necessarily a wealthy one in terms of kills.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, I agree. So they had 10 kills, and if he doesn't get second place, they're suddenly in a pretty precarious situation. The top 4 teams in either of these groups are going to qualify, and, well, it's Jesse Cook's team, a nice 40 points. You have to feel extremely good about that. Now, if you can couple that with another win, you're probably smooth sailing. But for teams like Jesse Cook's and Swagg, who are pushing beyond that 20-point mark already, they are in a very good position. I think you can expect at this point they will most likely qualify as long as they don't go out early with no multipliers and no kills in the game. If they even do decently, I think they should be safe, Shift.
early challengers this time to try to help break up those top teams from just being comfortable the entire way through.
Well, the lovely lady on your screen is going to be the winning captain of map 1 and the team currently in first place. Reminder again, this is the second map of Group A. There will be 3 qualifying maps, and if you're in the top 4, lucky for you, you've made it into the final. It's a lot of money on the line, not just for these players, but also for all the viewers in chat. So make sure you stick around both for the chat commands, what we have to tell you, and more. But early on, Brolic goes down, and Jessie there to try and support, but she has to get the pistol shots to connect and can't do so, and the team collapses. Not exactly the start that they would want to have, but may not be over for them just yet. Now, we go over to TBE alongside Kens, and a bit of a sleepy start for them, but this is not surprising. They tend to do this in Rebirth. They want to get all those things like self-revives, get that loot early on, give themselves the utility they need. Now, granted, we'll have to see if that's going to play out well for them, as unfortunately, last time we saw, Almond was all on his own.
Yeah, and this control center drop, as very passive as it can be, it does give you the ability, what you're seeing right here, to read a number of kind of multiple areas for free. So you already see that a team is getting a drop a little bit lower. Obviously, you could see by the minimap that the rest of Noobs' squad is already on the hunt, trying to move over to find these kills quickly. Almond from the outside has a really good look at it, and actually this might be kind of a double setup here because Aydan's team is also in the ballpark. So once again, a lot of early toggling coming through, and I'll be really curious if Jesse's team did lose in 9th, by the way. We have lost a full squad already. That didn't look good over towards Chem. So you want to talk about put yourself in a little bit of a more chaotic position scoring-wise. If you were to win and then immediately fall out in 9th with no kills, that could keep things up in the air.
It certainly could, and well, the man on your screen, a part of subliners themselves, Aydan, guys, and I know he's chit-chatting with the team, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So let's see how Captain Aydan and his squad found their way through Rebirth Island. Let's go ahead and go to Astro listening.
I'm pushing over there. Oh, look at the window. Oh man, fuck. Should I bleed out?
No. Watching it push.
Oh, this guy on the roof is about to chow over. Like, down low to your left.
I have no place.
Knocked one.
Here, Aydan.
He bled out.
Doing the jump up night.
Oh, he didn't bleed out. He's
Behind us.
here, bro.
Behind us up here, hun.
I'm getting flanked. Yo, there's 2 in the stairwell. I just...
Wait, people are flanking. People are in my house.
Nice.
Down low, Smith here. 2 there.
That's a new team, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a team in my house right now.
Sighted infantry target.
Contract failed. Time ran out. Enemy UAV active. Reinforcements are on the way. Enemy UAV active.
Oh my god.
Got him.
One for me.
Under us.
Behind you. Sliding in on you. Dead.
Yep.
It's new squad on the hill.
Well, I can't say Aydan's team is having the most fun in the world. Those Astro Gaming listen and comms sounded like they were just trying to figure out exactly what sort of play they want to make. Aydan got caught out early on, almost dies out in the open, was able to get away and get a kill before he got traded out by Knight's team. So that it was a bit tricky for them, I think, but at least still alive. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're not one of the first teams to wipe, so you're still doing all right, all things considered.
The difficult thing about all of that moment right there is as you heard them make the commitment to go, they very quickly realized that this was a third-party situation that they were walking into with players behind them that they just did not get a read on. You even heard Aydan from us saying, do I just need to bleed out here? Like, do we just need to fully reset and back off of this fight? Which may have been a call because now you've kind of fully committed by getting that res off to playing from this low ground and staying in that three-way fight for what's going to feel like an eternity. So, tough situation all around, but like you had mentioned, surviving through it for the time being. Juki's was that really nice kill that we saw from Aydan's perspective deep on the outside of that building from the low ground, but he's already back into fighting form and making good use of it. 3 kills for Juki's, and the full squad looks really healthy, as it looks like for the most part. Not only have they survived through that chaotic fight down low, but they've actually managed to get a handful of kills while doing so.
Yeah, Juki's team, their communication seems very fluid. Already a nice number of kills for them. Now we swing over Noobs, no kills yet, but Tommy calling in a cluster, a beautiful down coupled with that cluster. I don't think, unfortunately, Tommy was aiming it at the player that Noobs down, might be able to at least transition that into a kill, but this team alive and well for the time being. Maybe not as many self-revives as they had previously, but I think so far so good. My only concern is at some point they're going to have to pick up their pace a little bit, start accumulating those kills. Now we swing over. Subliner's own Swish'em does have 3 kills. Tried to connect on at least one in the building. Stims goes for the hip fire and gets the down. A beautiful kill onto Skullface. Nice play from Swish.
That's such an important elimination as well, because it's not over. As I say, they have the ability to gatekeep the outside of this circle as the zone starts to close the next 5 seconds, but unfortunately Swish not quite able to heal herself up and continue the fight. So we jump over to Swagg as he jumps in, and the question will be, how can him and Booyah continue to try to run this outer area? It looks like they are going to give up the proximity to play for the loadout drop, which will put him in a bit more of a vulnerable position, largely speaking, but still with some good weapons on the ground, you can fight for a bit longer. You would just love to kind of stay up here. Yeah, if you could get on top of this building, or at least near the high ground, you're going to be watching some teams kind of rotate from that eastern side of the island. So I think that's going to be prime real estate for you, especially as we close the second circle.
And Swaggy's going to have to be careful. For just a brief moment, he was the only one alive, but now Swish and Biffle able to come back. They only have a few more seconds to wait on Booyah. And now this is where things get so dangerous in Rebirth, right? Because you can't float. You will be spotted out and taken out in the sky. Now, in the rules at the very beginning of a map, in the opening drop, you cannot shoot people out of the sky. But once you're on the ground, it's fair game. So we'll see if Booyah, Swish, and Co. can sort of kind of get their legs under them, get settled, especially with that loadout. And it looks like that is safe. Now Swagg going for another kill, and it's on to none other than Juki's, who we knew was hovering in this general location. They spot a couple more a little bit north of them toward that side of the map, and unfortunately Swish dead again as well. But Swagg, it looks like rather fortuitous for them that not only did they have a safe loadout, but they had that buy station that was safe for them as well. And zlaner, nice cook nade, takes out Nickel.
The thing about this positioning, and you can see obviously a couple of the players being tagged out, is this circle is going to really punish the rotation that you've got to go into where Swagg and Booyah's positioning are. They're going to be in a really comfortable position to really just reap the reward of not just the fire sale that's going on, but as you had mentioned, just kind of high ground looking over these teams that are going to have to try to work their way in. The good news, I would say, for Z Squad is that Wars has already made the move forward, but as the UAVs continue to litter the battlefield, there's going to be a lot of fighting that happens outside of this circle for the next 30 seconds, and we're going to be really narrowing in on the last moments of redeploy here as we get 90 seconds left on that timer. So what I'm getting at, the long and short of it, is use this fire sale as best as you can to get yourself set up for what's about to be the end game.
And I love that on Hisoka. As you can see, Juki's there alongside. And I think, once again, that team already has a very solid number of kills to be working with. And this is where it really starts to matter. We've been hovering at these 8 teams for some time now, and for good reason, because those placement points are so pivotal when you only have 3 maps to try and qualify. Now, Tommy does have a double threat bounty on him, but Noobs content to stay in this generally same location. But my concern, he doesn't really have anything to show for it. Yes, he's been able to get downs, but they're not converting them into anything substantial. He does have teammates across the way, but, well, if you get beamed, that doesn't mean anyone's there to help you. And now Hisoka swinging back up top with his 7 kills. A nice shot, gets the down onto Ken's, and, well, that's why sometimes splitting up can cost you. Won't be able to turn it into a kill, but will at least be able to get one down, as he has a triple threat as well.
Jeez, dude. Hisaka's frying. He's got 8, and we're not even into the 3rd zone yet. There are still redeploys that are going to come down. Hisaka very well could put up double digits easily before we even get to the final fights. This has been an incredible display, and now the timing, as they make their way further into this residential living area, that's going to be an opportunity with the UAV to really maybe even find a full team wipe. It's really good news as far as the swiftness that Hisaka's team is rotating on, and it's rewarding them massively when it comes to early kills. They're in a great position to possibly put together a huge tally here point-wise to the second lobby.
Yeah, they are doing a great job. And, well, Swish now at 5 kills, and the team all alive and well this time around, which you love to see. And this is great news for them, right? Because we saw how well Swagg's team did. They're in 2nd place right now behind Jesse's team. Jesse's team, I think, went out quite early. So they are in an amazing position to capitalize on map 2 and turn it into a 1st place position for them.
Yeah, this will be really interesting, though. Look where our final circle is going to push everyone to. There's one key big building here to the southwest side of the island. Everything else is small buildings like we're seeing currently Selena kind of overtake. The question will be, as the circle gets in and then starts to move, how do you want to manipulate that edge of the circle? Because that's what we a lot of the time see that players will do with stim shots, is they'll just kind of work themselves into the gas. But the thing about this final circle is there's not a lot of necessarily cover or buildings that you can work with, just simply due to the fact that the majority of this circle is mostly composed of one single building here. So it'll be interesting to see what the decisions are going to be as we still have 7 full squads left.
And well, Swagg, gonna have to be careful, does not have any plates in the reserve, and well, now you have 2 teammates full dead. We said this could be a great opportunity for them, but you're gonna have to pull out some of those almond tricks to stay alive, and well, the moment he goes around the corner, who other than Hisoka takes him out? I wouldn't be shocked if we swung to Hisoka's POV and he was already at double digits, rated with another kill here, and now we have Knight on our screen. Aydan's team alive and well alongside Z, Smith, and Co. And maybe not a ton of kills for him, but this is where the placement really starts to tick in. You're at that 1.5 multiplier with 5 teams remaining here. You're all set up for that next circle. You don't have to worry about the storm. You can know that there's a large swath behind you and to your right that isn't going to have players in it, and you see one shooting from the building to your left. It just reduces the amount of locations you have to worry about as these sneaky little beavers move their way up the hill, and they just got blessed by that rotation. Wow.
Yeah, they're going to be the first team here without question. And the thing about how this circle is going to move is everyone has to fall off those switchbacks that you just saw them kind of sneaking up. So the gamble's going to pay off. And that will lead to an opportunity. If they hold forward a little bit on the circle as it moves, they could actually generate a ton of kills. The thing about it is that was a group of 4. There's only 13 total players left. So at most, calculatively, you can only get 9 kills, which is not necessarily a ton, but you would love to be able to at least take the majority of those as this circle starts to go.
I saw that their Winterellas was able to get a kill. Jukies will fall in the storm, and well, you got to be careful because just like that, there's only 3 teams remaining, and 4 of those players are on this one. Wow, if this isn't a night team win, I don't know what is. I think Aydan's team should shortly here be able to secure that win as well. They're in a 3v1, and if you lose that, probably going to be the talk of the town.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about circle rotations like this. When everyone is on the high ground playing around that building with 5 teams remaining, as it is Selena, the last player left, and she'll just get overwhelmed. But going back to the point is, if you're going to try to play the gamble of, ooh, we'll play for the zone maybe to pull to us, and if that's the case, we've guaranteed ourselves the win. The problem about that is because every other team is littering the dead center of that final zone, you're not in a position to actually fight any of them. So you're going to get the 2 times multiplier, but it's not going to feel necessarily great because, as mentioned, the 9 total players that were left outside of their squad were all on the high ground, and largely they were all killing each other. So not a ton of final kills outside of the 2 that we saw, it looked like, for Aydan's team, but it is still a 2 times multiplier, and you'll still take that. We were like, oh, should be comfortable. Well, when you finish 9th with 0 points, it all of a sudden puts you right on that threshold. Still in 4th is Team Jesse Cooks, but within threatening range is Z-Laner, Holly, and Almond's team. And then at the top, Juki, Swagg, and Aydan, they're looking pretty comfortable at the moment, especially Juki's team. They have put together some unbelievable lobbies in these first 2 drops.
Yeah, it's really a hard line there separating the top 4 from really the bottom 5. And you see Jesse's team, the fact that you got not only 9th place, but 0 kills, and you're still in qualifying position.
Yeah,
you were
for real.
blessed by what was able to happen in map 1. So they're still very much in it. Also, on top of that, the fact that they have a 10-point lead over Z-Laner's team. Again, you don't have to have an incredible top tier game, but you need to do well. Realistically, you probably need to be getting into that final 3-4 with those double-digit kills to secure that qualification spot. But Juki's teams, Swagg's teams, they have continued to impress, and specifically Hisoka on Juki's team has been a demon in this map. Every time we look at him, it feels like you go to him, he has 3 kills. You come back, he has 8. You come back again, he has double digits. Hisoka has been a terror so far.